The Execution of Catherine Howard, a Tudor tragedy of power, betrayal, and a doomed teen queen. Catherine Howard, the fifth wife of Henry VIII, was executed at the Tower of London on February 13, 1542. She was approximately 19 years old. Her death was not an anomaly. It was the calculated, politically expedient endpoint of a system designed to destroy the vulnerable to protect the powerful. This is not a romantic story. It is a harrowing examination of how a young woman with no agency was exploited, manipulated, and ultimately sacrificed in the ruthless game of Tudor politics. The facts of the case. Age at marriage to Henry VIII, likely 16 or 17. Tenure as queen, 16 months, July 1540, November 1541. Official charges, adultery, treasonous for a queen. Method of execution, beheading by axe. Final words, I die a queen, but I would rather have died the wife of Culpeper. A life of exploitation. Catherine was orphaned early and placed in the household of her step-grandmother, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. There, she was exposed to inappropriate behavior and sexual advances from older men, including her music teacher, Henry Manox, and her aristocratic relative, Francis Dereham. These early relationships, later reframed as evidence of promiscuity, were in fact examples of a young woman being groomed in an environment without protection or guidance. Queenship as a trap. The Howard family saw Catherine's beauty and youth as their ticket back to royal favor. They presented her to the aging, ailing king, then 49, obese, and suffering from a festering leg wound, as a refreshing replacement for Anne of Cleves. Henry was enchanted. They married days after his annulment was finalized. But life as queen offered Catherine no safety, only a gilded cage with watchers at every door. The affair that ended her life. Catherine's relationship with Thomas Culpeper, a member of the king's privy chamber, was her undoing. Whether fueled by loneliness, fear, or youthful passion, their secret meetings and correspondence were discovered by court enemies. Archbishop Thomas Cranmer delivered the evidence to the king. The investigation that followed was merciless. Culpeper and Dereham were tortured, tried, and executed. Catherine was interrogated for months, stripped of her title, and imprisoned at Sion Abbey before being moved to the Tower. Her ladies-in-waiting and allies were arrested. Some gave testimony under duress. A harrowing end. On the morning of February 13th, Catherine was led to the scaffold within the Tower precincts. She did not cry or resist. It was reported that she spoke calmly, acknowledging her fate but insisting she had loved the king. Then she knelt. With one stroke of the axe, another Queen of England was gone. Not a scandal, a sacrifice. Catherine Howard was not an adulteress in the modern sense. She was a pawn, used first by her family, then by the king, and finally by a political system that demanded her death to preserve the illusion of royal control. Her story remains one of the most haunting in English history, not because of romance, but because of its brutality. A teenager died because she dared to seek affection in a world that gave her none. If you value historical truth and the memory of those erased by power, support this channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications for more unflinching history.